You know, the keys to a green city are public spaces that are accessible to everyone, not just the wealthy, but where people live within a 10-minute walk of a park. So if you think about a city, you want to make sure that people live within a 10-minute walk of a green space or a park. And it's really critically important to also that that green space has trees, vegetation, because trees manage stormwater. So for flooding, also they reduce carbon footprint for a city, and they also provide shade, so reduce temperatures in city, which is really, really important. It's also really important that that green space provide a variety of different options, whether it's people's ability to walk or bike, or active spaces for people to participate in sports. Really, if you think about what you do on an individual basis and what you want to do out in public spaces, making sure that they provide all those kinds of opportunities for people in city spaces. You know, parks provide such benefit to us individually as humans, such as physical well-being, mental health, stress reduction. You know, research has shown that within 10 minutes of actually being in green space, your heart rate drops, your blood pressure drops. So it is really incredibly beneficial to us physically, but also psychologically and emotionally. But the benefits also to a community are amazing. Stormwater management, temperature reduction, carbon reduction. Also the spaces that are adjacent to parks are the most valued from an economic perspective spaces in a city, so they're great drivers of economic development for cities as well. Yeah, so we partner with organizations all over the globe. Like coming here to Madrid for this conference is really important. It's about building relationships. It's also about learning what other cities, other countries are doing around park space. What we do in the US is very different and somewhat the same as what you do in Madrid, but the global learning that I get by going to other places is really important. And we also provide support and resources to people who are doing this work, whether it's professionals or communities who want to advocate for parks and green space. We're a resource to them to advance really nature spaces in cities. You know, I was very fortunate to be the superintendent of the Minneapolis Park System. It is a renowned, world-renowned park system. You know, one of the things that makes Minneapolis really unique is that the park system was built first and the city was built around it. So it is a city built around a park system. And so access to parks and green spaces, no matter where you live in the city, 98% of residents in Minneapolis live within a 10-minute walk of a park. There's also a whole trail network for biking and walking that you can get anywhere in the city and outside of the city limits. So thinking about that kind of space is really important as cities build out their park systems. And then today, doing green infrastructure, looking at long-term environmental sustainability. As cities are dealing with extreme climate conditions, which is why tree canopy is really important. Heat is the #1 health weather issue that's been going on in the world for 15 years, and it's going to continue to be. So ensuring that you have trees is critically important. Using green infrastructure instead of concrete built environments for preserving that space is also really important. Ensuring that everyone in your city has equal access to that space, #1. You know, the U.S. has a very storied history, a not good storied history around race and race inequities, which is a huge focus of the work that I do, is ensuring that cities provide equal access to parks and equal access to the resources for that park system. While we have that as a really bad legacy in the United States, I also have found in the work that I've done through World Urban Parks is that every country has its own inequities. And so I challenge city government leaders and residents of cities to ensure that those who are the most impoverished those who are seen in your society as less than, that they are provided the same level of access to parks, and that the investments from a maintenance and recreation program and assets are of the same quality. So no matter what park you go to in a city, let's take Madrid as an example, that the parks are maintained and cared for and the assets are of the same quality no matter where you live in this city. You know, I think it's different. It's different across the world. It's even very different in the United States depending where you live. And so I believe strongly that you need to understand the culture of a particular country, the culture of a particular city. What are the politics and what are the history of that city? And how do you figure out what's going to work best in that city or in that country? And you do everything you can to build the advocacy and support and demonstrate through data and research that's shown how important parks and green spaces are to the livability of that city and what makes cities great places to live.